Hi everyone, Dom Famularo here for the Vater Percussion Company. It is so exciting. We are on the mic. I'll tell you something, this is very, very interesting because each week as we do these, I get the chance of being able to learn about so many of these great players as I get the chance to meet up with some old great friends as we have today, which is fantastic. So I want you to first check out this video that we're going to play for you. Check this out. This is living the dream. Come on, this is incredible, absolutely incredible. Brooke, you are doing so wonderful. Let me tell you a little about Brooke. She's been making waves online since she started posting drum covers several years ago, racking up several million views and hundreds of thousands of followers to date. She teamed up with a few fellow New York musicians for a cover of Heart's Barracuda, gaining massive exposure and leading to an all-female band called Plush. The band was landed on the Billboard charts. They've been playing major rock festivals and have a massive tour coming up, even with Evanescence and Hailstorm. So please, joining us from New York, please welcome Miss Brooke Colucci. Thank you so much, Brooke, for joining us.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
This is so great, Brooke. I get a kick out of it because you are playing your tail off. You are just so powerful in your playing. You are such a natural musician in how you approach the instrument. And as we've had the chance in several lessons to sit down with you, just to talk about natural movement, and you really are at the top of your game now. So thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Now, I want to go back to the beginning because here you are, you're still young now, but you know, your parents, I guess, were very involved with music. Did your parents play musical instruments?
Actually, no. Both my parents, neither of them are musicians. They've just always been super supportive of me and my musical journey. So,
so what got you involved at a young age into playing? Do you remember what attracted you to music, into playing drums?
Yeah, I actually went to a friend's birthday party when I was, I think, 6 years old, and it was rock and roll themed, so they had musicians come with different instruments, and I got to sit behind the kit and try it out, and I just fell in love. So
it was love at first hit.
It sure was.
So you come back from that party. Did you start to say to your parents, you know, I think I want a drum set? Did it start there?
It did, yeah. My friend's birthday party was early December, so I went home asking for a drum set for Christmas. And lo and behold, that Christmas I got a Little Mini First Act drum kit. So
and
that was when it happened, actually. That's the photo from the birthday party.
Oh, that's hysterical. So that really was the beginning of a seed being planted that has now grown into this incredible musical career. So you're playing, you're starting to have some fun, you're 6. Did you start playing along to music? Did you know, what were you listening to at that time?
At that time, I was listening to my dad is a huge Godsmack fan, so that rubbed off on me, as well as Seven Dust and, a lot of bands like that. So pretty much all of his music taste rubbed off on me, and I really grew a love for all of those bands. So I was listening to all of those bands while I was learning how to play. But I actually didn't start playing like any songs or doing any covers until maybe like 3-ish years into playing. I was really just focusing my drum teacher that I had at the time. He really had me focus in on rudiments and technique and stuff like that.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. So you start, you're taking drum lessons, and you're, how old are you? Maybe 7, 8, 9 years old.
Yeah, about.
All right. And this teacher starts getting into rudiments and playing. Were you working on reading? Were you working on different levels of techniques? What was he showing you?
He was showing me how to read music as well. He would print out sheet music and he would put it up on a music stand and have me read it and play along to it. I remember distinctly, I had this sheet that he printed out for me, and it was all just like basic drum beats, all of them, like anyone that you can think of, it was on that page. So I had that, and I would always play along to that. And yeah, he would just show me rudiments, paradiddles, flams, flam taps, drag rolls, all that kind of stuff.
So you're really kind of stepping into the drumming world now. Aside from just playing the songs, you're starting to go down the incredible rabbit hole of learning this instrument.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly.
Did he have you going through any books? Were there any books that you were going through that he was working on?
He did have a couple books. I can't really remember the names of them. But it was just like beginner drum books and everything, and would have me read the music.
So what was the influence that was keeping you going? Because you're learning these beats. Were you playing along to records at home?
I wasn't actually. I don't think I was in the very beginning. But the one thing that really kept me going is my dad would always show me Godsmack's Batalla de los Tambores, the drum battle that they always do live. And I absolutely loved that. I would watch it like at least once a day. So that was really a huge inspiration for me to keep playing, because I was always just like, oh, I want to be able to play like that. Like, that's sick. So
there was older rock music that you were listening to, whereas people your age were mostly listening to contemporary stuff. You were kind of going back a little and hearing some of the older stuff.
Mm-hmm. I was. And it's still like that for me. Like, I still listen to Godsmack and Seven Dust, Led Zeppelin, like all of bands from those eras. I don't really listen to a lot of newer pop music or anything like that.
So you kind of stay away from some of the pop stuff. And so are you focusing on mostly the rock stuff that you were going back years ago? I mean, like, listen, Zeppelin is classic. You can't go wrong with Zeppelin. Any Zeppelin at any time is always inspiring.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely stayed around that era. Not that I don't ever or I've never listened to pop music, because I will say I've always loved like No Doubt with Gwen Stefani. I've always loved them. But really, other than that, I focused in on more of the rock stuff. That was my main love. Like, I've always just loved listening to it. And as I started to play along to songs, that was what I enjoyed playing to most.
So what do you think about drumming? When you were listening to Zeppelin, you're hearing John Bonham, all these different bands. What was it about what you were hearing that you were taking in? Was it the groove? Was it their playing? Was it the full band? What was it that you were absorbing?
I was really mainly absorbing the drums, just because, that was the instrument that I played. So I wanted to listen to them, and I looked up to them. So I wanted to pretty much be like them. So I really focused in on like the groove. I've always been like really appreciative of a good groove, and yeah, that's kind of what I really mainly focused in on.
So let's talk about the groove. You're playing, you're hearing this music, and so you're not really playing along to the music. You're just kind of hearing the music and then playing on your own. You're kind of figuring out what a lot of these drummers did. So were you experimenting with different techniques, like if you wanted to play like a double bass hit, did you just naturally play two bass drum hits in a row, or did you have to work on that? How'd that all develop?
For quite a few years, like since I didn't have a double bass pedal for quite a few years. So, but I would be listening to music that was, it had double bass in it. So I would always try to do the double bass parts on a single pedal, which is kind of funny looking back at it now. But I do believe that that's helped me a lot, honestly, with my right foot and just, being able to do doubles and triplets on it and everything. So.
Well, that actually is a great advantage, because that meant you had to work your foot and make it happen. Were you ever involved with dance? Were you ever involved in dancing when you were younger?
No, never been a dancer.
Never been, but because your movements on the drums really has dance movement. The way you play, you really have that choreography of movement is very evident in your playing, which is really just, again, part of just a natural gift.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So if I remember, School of Rock. Tell me about School of Rock. You got involved with School of Rock?
Yeah, I started going there when I was in, I think, seventh grade, and I did it for a year. And for those of you who don't know what School of Rock is, it's a bunch of kids, and we have rehearsal once a week for 3 hours, and there's a bunch of different shows that you can do to choose from, and they're all at different skill levels. And yeah, you just kind of go and rehearse songs with a bunch of other young musicians, and it's really great.
So you're meeting other musicians that are they kind of your same age? Is that what they paired you with?
Yeah, you got paired with people around the same age as you, just because normally that's kind of how it would work a little bit with skill level sometimes. So,
So were they good enough musicians to jam with? Were you having fun at that time, playing with them?
oh yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'm really glad I did it, and it was a great experience. And that was really my first time jamming with other musicians, because everything before that, I was just kind of by myself in my attic playing my drums. So it's great to finally play with somebody.
The old drumming attic escape. We've all been there many times, for sure. If it's not someone's attic, it's someone's basement. So good for you to have that kind of time to be a recluse like that, to understand your instrument. So you're jamming with other musicians. What was it like now at this beginning stage of playing with other musicians? What was that like?
Um, that's a good question.
You remember those early days of playing with other musicians? Were you nervous? Were you just kind of going for it?
Oh, I was so nervous. I was like, I've always been like a really shy person and really more introverted than extroverted. So just playing with other people, and like even though like I had rehearsed the songs and like I knew what I was doing, I was still like so nervous. And even too, I was just nervous to talk to people, not even just play, but just to like talk to people. That's what I was nervous for too. So I guess nervous is a good word to describe the first time playing with people.
So with these nerves, and you're saying you were shy. So this is an interesting point, because has that changed now that you're playing with the band and you're out playing? Has this is the shyness wearing down?
Yeah, I would say it definitely is. I'm much better when it comes to like meeting new people and everything. I'm a lot less shy. But I still have it in me though a little bit.
What makes you shy about? Is it something where you're nervous of playing something wrong, or where does that shy come in?
I guess just I've always been somebody who cares what other people think, even though I know I shouldn't care what other people think, but it's still, I can't help it. So I guess it's mainly that, just caring about what other people think and just messing up and stuff like that. So that's where my shyness comes from, I think.
It's a very common challenge that many people have, and it's funny in the entertainment business. And what we're doing now is, now here you are, with a relatively, shyness within your personality, and you're playing in front of thousands of people on stage. wailing away. This is incredible.
Uh, but I remember the first show that we played, it was actually the clip that you guys just played. That was our first show. And before that show, I was so nervous. I couldn't even eat. Like I had to force myself to eat. I would just like had that nervous pit in my stomach and oh my God, I felt like a wreck.
Well, that's actually a good thing. You know, getting nervous before a performance is something which it just kind of states you want to do well. You're concerned about doing well. So you want to do the best you can. So those nerves kind of sometimes are a good motivator to stay focused and play in the moment and in the now.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's true.
So now you get involved with posting, videos of you playing. That takes a certain level of courage to now, for a shy person to start posting videos. What got you involved in the social media aspect?
I had just seen a lot of other people posting things on social media, and I just thought like one day, oh, maybe I'll just try it out, see how it goes. And my dad and my parents, they definitely encouraged me to do it more so. I mean, I wanted to do it too. Like they weren't making the decision for me. Like I did want to do it, but they definitely helped me with like have some confidence to post videos and everything like that. So
let's talk about your parents for a second, because I had the chance to talk to your dad, who's a wonderful person. And I mean, they really are incredibly supportive of what you're doing. And, it's not easy for parents, for their children to want them to be, successful at what they do and love what they do, but also when you start talking about a music career, everyone gets a little bit nervous,
Mhm.
but yet your family is incredibly supportive of what you're doing. So, I mean, that you got to understand how lucky and how blessed you are to have that kind of support from your parents.
I am. I would not be anywhere near where I am today if it wasn't for my parents and their support. So I'm extremely grateful.
Oh, that's great to hear. And it's kind of interesting because now, do your dad or your mom, do they travel with you now to some of these performances?
They travel when they can. Both my parents, they have pretty strict jobs when it comes to taking time off. So they haven't been able to come to all of them, but they've came to, I believe, the first 2 shows. So
That had to blow them away when they came. I think they probably, it's like, I'm sure I can imagine your dad is just saying, I cannot believe this is happening to witness this. This is incredible.
yeah, they were both really excited for me and really happy for me. So
In that video that we saw, how many people were at that video that we just watched?
I don't know exactly. My guess is, maybe at least like I'm gonna guess 700 people. I'm gonna guess to 1,000 maybe.
There might have been a lot more than that for sure. I think there probably were a lot more than that. That's, just from looking at the video itself, that's just incredible. So you're playing, you're doing it. Talk about the social media angle as far as, did you start filming yourself directly? Who was helping you kind of post this stuff? How was that working out?
My brother is super techy and he's great with computers and cameras and all that stuff. So he was helping me film it, and my dad was helping me get like a pretty decent drum sound in the beginning. So both my dad and my brother had helped me with my videos.
So even getting a drum sound and working on that, what was that like to, you were miking the drum set up, you were figuring out the placement of mics. This is a big learning curve.
Yeah, so luckily my dad was, he seemed super into it and everything. So we got a couple like cheap mics, and he just Googled it and looked up YouTube videos on like best way to mic a drum set and best way to record a drum set and everything. So
I love where the world is at now, that you can go by and you can, Google and or YouTube anything that you want to do. I mean,
I know, it's great.
So you're doing this now. You do your first drum video, and you post it. What was it like when you began to see that? How did you feel? You know, I mean, you're stepping into a world which was not available when I was your age. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have any of what's the tools or the platforms that are available today. It was a very, very different world. So in this world today, now here you are young, you're posting this up there. What was it like when you began to watch it?
It was really interesting because it was just, people that like I don't know at all would be watching my videos and commenting on my videos. And I mean, luckily, most of the comments were positive. So that really made me feel good. And that was something that encouraged me to keep posting more. But it was just, it's just very interesting to think that somebody that you don't know, you've never met before, can kind of know quite a bit about you just because of the internet.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, this is a very different world we live in now, and the amount of information that's available from having all this technology is for the world to see. So you're posting this up there. It's kind of interesting because some of the negative comments, there are some, as they call them, trolls out there. They just want to be negative for being negative.
Yeah.
And you have to kind of learn how to get past that, where if a negative comment comes up, you got to either just delete it or just move on.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever get any of that?
Yeah, I definitely got like a couple, like specifically, like I got one that was like get back in the kitchen and like whatnot. Um, I I know. I don't really care like comments like that. I just ignore it. And I know that a lot of people, that comment things like that are trying to hurt other people, they're hurt themselves. Like, so it's just one of those things I ignore it and just, move on.
Well, that's a great lesson for people to understand, because it really is a matter of that level of ignorance when that happens. And I see it all the time on the internet. I see it with all these players that I know. The Dave Weckels, who was on the cover of Modern Drummer with yourself on the in the magazine. I mean, I've just seen things that people have said about artists that is just like so disrespectful and just so ignorant that it's best just to delete them out of there and just let it go, because you have to kind of let that stuff roll off of you, just because of the fact that this is the world that we live in, and this is the internet gives everyone a voice.
Yeah, and there's just, there's a lot of negative people out there, and just, like we've said, the best thing to do is just ignore it and move on and just keep doing what you're doing.
Well, this is a very mature attitude that I like everyone to listen to and kind of understand. So now you're doing this here, you're playing drum covers. This is a whole nother educational journey in itself, because you've got to learn the tune, you've got to learn the part, you've got to analyze it, you've got to know the different arrangement of what's happening. What was that like to begin to study this and learn these covers?
It was really like, I've learned so much from playing other people's music and just learning a lot. Um, it's helped me a lot with exploring different types of music as well, and different techniques, and just trying different things. Like Danny Carey from Tool has been a really big inspiration for me. So playing his stuff and covering his stuff has definitely helped me branch out and try different types of fills and, just a lot of different stuff.
Well, it's interesting. It's so great to hear, because it's interesting the fact that many of these albums recorded to click tracks, so they are metronomically perfect. So when you're playing to them and when you're learning them, you are now developing your metronomic time from what you're hearing in these tunes. And listen, your time when you're playing, you know how to drive the band, you know how to be assertive when the band needs it, you know how to push the band when it needs that, you know how to keep the energy level up all the time. And I mean, this is something which it seems like you were pulling this from all these different covers that you were recording.
Yeah, definitely. It's helped me a lot with my time.
This is so great. So now you're doing these drum covers, you get millions of views. How did you feel when this started to happen, where all of a sudden now you're getting, this incredible, the numbers are growing.
It was, hang on, someone's going myself back.
Are you on, you're freezing a couple times, but yeah, you're back now.
Okay. I have no idea what's going on. This wasn't happening before.
That's all right.
Okay.
All right.
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question again?
Sure. So now you're getting all these different views. You're getting these people now are watching this. The views are racking up. People are watching it. They're sharing it. It's the ultimate of this viral insanity where when some of your videos came across my desk and people were saying, I said, oh my gosh, this is fantastic. I then forwarded that for more people to watch. So, all of a sudden this viral growth is happening. So I'm sure yourself and your dad and your brother are going, what the heck is going on now? This is incredible.
Yeah, it was really insane. And I never expected any of the, support from other people. I never expected that to happen. Because I was really just, I was just posting covers because I enjoyed it and I liked learning the songs. And, if I'm learning a song, why not film a video and put it up online? So it was really shocking to me. And it was hard for me to believe too, just because I'm like, I'm a normal person. I just happen to like to play drums,
Well, I think, yes, you are a normal person, just so I can validate that. And the other thing is the fact that you've got this passion, and obviously the passion that you're playing with is inspiring other people. I mean, it's giving them joy, and this is leading you to an incredible purposeful life that you playing drums and having fun at it is bringing joy to all these different people. I mean, it really is incredible. But here you are playing covers of certain songs. Then I think you start to sit in at some concerts with some of the bands that you were covering their songs for.
Yes.
Tell me about how that happened.
I can't remember which song it was. I believe it was Chaos and Earthquakes by Nonpoint. I had covered that song. And they were coming to a venue near me. So I messaged them and I was like, hey, can't wait to see you guys. And they were like, do you want to sit in on that song with us? And I'm like, oh my God, yes, that would be amazing. So they were kind enough to let me sit in for that song, Chaos and Earthquakes. And that's definitely one of the highlights from my whole music journey.
Look at this here. Well, all these different players, from Nonpoint, we've got Vater artist Rob Rivera and Seven Dust, Morgan Rose. I mean, you got some great Vater artists that you've hooked up with just in the course of your travel. So what was it like sitting in with these bands?
It was again like one of those things I just couldn't believe that this is happening, because some of them were very early on in my playing live kind of situation. So I only played live 2 or 3 times before sitting in with them. So it was again, super nerve-wracking for me because I had never sat in with a major band, obviously. And it was a lot of fun, and yeah.
A lot of fun. Listen, that's, this is, we call that baptism by fire. You're thrown into the seed and you've got to survive. So you're playing on a different drum set. You're hearing the band, either through monitors or some kind of a speaker system. It's a whole different sound. You've got to adapt to that pretty quickly. So where do you think you learned that? Is that, listen, again, I go back to the courage line. You got to have some deep, courage to go up there and say, yes, I'll go and join in on a completely different kit. Bent, you hit it, and you did fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah, I guess just my love for drumming and just knowing that I had played these songs, quite a few times and I knew them, that was kind of what gave me that courage to get up there and just do it. So.
I love your humility. This is so great that you're just kind of going up there and you're maintaining it's almost like, your core focus, which is you have fun playing drums. So as long as you can maintain having fun playing drums, it doesn't matter what situation you're in, just continue having fun.
Exactly.
That is really great. So now, aside from now meeting these people now who have recorded the stuff that you're playing with it, now tell me about how you met Mariah. Where did that come about?
So Mariah had seen some of my videos online, and her dad had reached out to my dad through a local venue that we have both played at. And, we got in contact, we jammed a couple of times, and we were like, wow, like this is like really great. We have a great connection, and, we want to pursue this and, make a band. So, but this all happened right before the pandemic. So it was really hard for us, to meet other musicians and, like really get our names out there. So we ended up doing a cover of Barracuda's Heart, and it ended up doing really well. And, after that, I remembered that I have my friend Ashley, and we had actually met at School of Rock. So I called her up and I was like, hey, do you want to be in this band with Mariah and I? And, we all got together and the three of us jammed and we're like, this is really great, So then we were looking for a lead guitar player. And at the time we had gotten management. So our management had put out a post saying that we were looking for a female guitar player. And Lizzie Hale actually ended up sharing it. And Bella, our guitar player, she was following Lizzie. And she saw the ad and she sent in some videos and a bio about herself. And we were like, yeah, she's the one. So that's how we all got together.
So you get together. So you and Mariah, when you decided to play the Barracuda, the Heart tune, who decided that? Was that just something that you both decided on, or was it a tune that you felt comfortable with, or?
Yeah, it was both. We kind of both decided on it. Mariah had played it quite a few times before, and so it was a song that she was really comfortable with. And I was like, oh, I've always loved that song. Like, let's do it. So yeah.
Boy, the band Heart is just one of my favorite bands too. It's just such a great band. I met the two girls before, and Denny Carmassi was a dear friend of mine, was the drummer in that band. And it was just so great to be able to experience hearing the tune, because you guys played it great. The drum part you played, you totally nailed it in what you did. And so all of a sudden now that gets over 1 million views. And now all of a sudden, now you're starting to realize that maybe there's something there.
Mm-hmm.
So what was the next step? Was that like, we're talking about the band now. How'd you put the band together?
So yeah, like I said, Ashley I had known from School of Rock, and then Bella, she saw the ad that we had put out with our management. So we all got together after the Barracuda video.
Right.
And, at that point we were like, oh, like let's get some original music out there. So we went into the studio and we recorded Hate and a couple other songs. And, we released Hate and people have just been really digging it. So we're super grateful.
Let's talk about the writing process. That's why I said, putting the band together, there's one thing about just getting some friends together. Now you got to all kind of be it's got to be your tribe. You all have to kind of be on the same page. Mm-hmm. So when you start playing together, how does the writing happen? Who writes? Does everybody chip in, or is there one writer? How does that work out?
So for Hate and a couple other songs, it was really mainly Mariah who wrote it, because, she wrote the lyrics and she also plays guitar. So she wrote a lot of the guitar parts. And then, she sent me like the demo and I wrote all the drum parts, and that's how we worked it with that song. But some of our other songs that we have been working on, it's kind of like a process of everybody chips in. Like somebody be like, hey, like listen to this cool guitar part that I wrote, and then we'll all kind of just jam to it.
I love the naturalness and just the rawness of it. Let's just play it and see what we can do with it, and see if we can turn this into something, which is always the best way, the feeling of the core of what the song is about. Good for you. Good for you. We have a couple of questions that are coming up. I want to Chad, my producer here, Chad Brandolini from Vater. Chad, Carlos Guzman, who's a wonderful drummer out in the Miami area, he says, Brooke, now that you are traveling to shows, what do you like and hate about touring? Are there any tips for up and coming drummers that you can share with them?
The part I like about traveling is I just, you know, I've always loved seeing new places and everything, and, you know, just getting to experience different things. I love that about traveling. Something I hate about traveling is I don't really like sitting in the car for too long. So, that's definitely something I don't really love. But you know what? I'll do it because it's totally worth it because I end up getting to play shows and everything like that.
Right.
And I guess some tips for up and coming drummers is, you know, just keep practicing. And, you know, even if one person doesn't like what you're doing, that doesn't mean you have to stop doing it. You know, just if you love it, then just do it. Honestly, that's the best advice I could give.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you. So, with the touring, the traveling is part of as I call like a necessary evil. Even flying. When you get to the point where you're flying, it's the same thing. Going to the airport and listen, I was taking, I was performing before COVID, 10 to 15 countries a year. So it
Yeah.
was an intense traveling that I was always involved with. And that meant getting to the airport several hours before, hopping on a plane, taking a long flight or taking several flights to get there. Arriving there might be a time zone change. There might be a weather change. You got to adapt. You got to get to the gig and set up, get a sound check. It's an intense process. Now, when you're setting up your gear and stuff like that, how are the sound checks? Are the sound checks easy for you? Or do you have enough time to get a good sound check?
Yeah, so for most of our shows that we've played so far, we've had enough time to, you know, play like a song or two to make sure everything's dialed in. But this past show that we played at Rocklahoma, you know, it's a festival, so we just kind of all played a little bit of something just to kind of make sure everything was working, and then that was it. Like our sound check was our set.
Now, do you have monitors near you that you listen to? Do you have your own monitors?
Yeah, so how I have it set up is I have a Behringer P1 that I have on my right side, and then I plug my monitors into it so I can hear all the guitars and vocals. And I also like to play to a click track, so I will have that playing. So,
So each song is to a click, and you have that in your ear.
yes.
Interesting. So so you have in-ear monitors that you have. Do you have any speakers near you to hear it also?
Uh, no, I don't have any speakers normally. My monitors for me are good enough. So,
How loud do you need your in-ear monitors to be able to hear everything? Do you have it really loud?
I don't have them too loud, just because they already block out quite a bit of sound.
Yeah.
So I don't have to have them too loud to be able to hear everything.
Boy, good for you because listen. You really want to protect your ears. A very common thing amongst drummers is tinnitus or tinnitus as it's called sometimes, where you have a ringing in your ear.
Mhm.
That's something which is was very, very traumatizing to a large degree in what it is. So good for you. So you're doing so. Let's pick up another question. We have another question that's coming up here. Brian Ahern, curious to know if drums were the first instrument you learned how to play, and do you play any other instruments?
Drums were the first instrument I ever learned to play. And I really stick to drums mainly, but I really do love playing some bass. I play bass every once in a while, so yeah.
Cool. Thank you so much. So talk about Plush. You worked in the studio with Johnny Kay, who was known for working with Strained, Disturbed, Three Doors Down. This is some serious people that you're working with. What was that like in the studio doing some recording?
It was a really, really fun experience. Johnny is super easy to work with, and just, you know, he's a great person, just even have a conversation with. So it was really a very laid back and just chill environment to record, which is really nice. So it was overall like a really great experience. I can't think of one bad thing.
how exciting when you think about that you had the chance to go in there. Did the recording studio or session concept intimidate you at all?
It did a little bit because it was, like these songs, like, I have to record them and then like, there's a possibility that they're going to be played on radio for many more people to hear and everything. And just, it was a little nerve-wracking for me, but I was already used to like recording in my house and everything, so I kind of already had like a rough idea of what it was going to be like.
Well, listen, in your home, there's a certain comfort zone that you have. When you're in the studio those mics are on, now, this is where we all have to put our big boy and our big girl pants on at that time, which you obviously did for sure. So Plush starts getting some songs that are now charting on Billboard. What did that feel like when you first saw that?
I feel like I say this for everything, but I couldn't believe it. It was really, I hadn't expected it to, even get anywhere near to being on, the rock charts and everything. And it was just, you know, really unexpected. And I feel like I've been saying that for everything, but everything that has happened, I have not expected to happen.
How do the other girls in the band feel about this also? What's their reaction to all this?
Just like I would say very similar to mine, just like oh my goodness, like this is really crazy. I can't believe this is us.
So is there a writing plan to write some more tunes? Is that something that are you involved with any writing at all? Do you have any ideas on what you might want to have in a tune?
Yeah, for our album that we had just recorded, I really didn't get too involved with the writing process, other than my drum parts, just because a lot of it Mariah had written. So, like I said, I haven't really gotten too involved with it, but I do like to play bass and I do like to write melodies on it and everything. So in the future albums, I am hoping to get some writing in on some of the songs.
Well, listen, being involved with the writing and part of the publishing end is another way to get more involved with helping the band grow, and having your musical perspective in the songs could be huge. And if you're writing some lyrics, listen, Neil Peart wrote a lot of lyrics that really did some great things for that band.
Yes.
Drummers writing lyrics and stuff like that, just doing it is something which can be offered. So now you're playing, you're touring. Tell me about Modern Drummer. What happened when they approached you to do this interview for Modern Drummer?
It was, Billy Amendola had reached out to me and he was like, hey, like, we would like to do an article on you. And I was like, oh my goodness, that's insane. So I was really excited and, I was, for that interview, I was definitely nervous because I was like, oh my God, this is going to be in a magazine. Like, but I'm really, really grateful. And yeah.
And here's Billy Amendola up here. I'm very proud of Brooke. The future music is in good hands. Thank you, Billy. So well said. Billy is a dear friend. He's been with Modern Drummer for, since probably close to the beginning of Modern Drummer. He's just a dedicated drummer himself. And he pretty much knows every possible drummer that you can imagine. And the fact that he was able to be that aware of what you were doing just shows his skill of being on top of what's happening in the drumming industry. And here's the cover that has Dave Weckl in here with yourself on here. Brooke, you're having your name up right over here. And here's the feature that you have in here. I mean, this is huge. I mean, really, this is huge. Right? You got to really put this in perspective. What's going through your mind, knowing that you're going to hit the road soon and go back on tour? I know you just got off tour. Where were you just recently?
We were just in Oklahoma. We played Rocklahoma. And then a couple weeks before that, we were in Illinois, and we did a couple gigs there. We did like the Illinois State Fair, Kenosha County Fair, and we played at a couple other places. But yeah.
And where you're off to coming up? What's the next plan on the next leg?
So the next plan is in a couple weeks, we're heading out to Illinois. We're going to play a fall fling. It's like a little festival hosted by a radio station, and that's going to be with Nonpoint, See There, Miles Kennedy, and a couple other awesome bands. And then in October, we're going to be heading out on the road with Mammoth. We're super excited for that. And then after that, we're hitting the road with Evanescence and Hailstorm.
When you think about it, this and Evanescence again. Will Hunt is the drummer with Evanescence. I mean, you're going to see another Vater artist like Will. I mean, this is so great as you hit the road and doing this here, and you're at the cusp of the beginning of a career that is nothing but fun, fun, fun. Now,
yeah, it's been a lot of fun so far. So,
well, if you keep, I always say to my students, you keep your head on straight. Keep practicing, keep your playing ability up. There's one thing about constantly learning so you can listen to all these different drummers, especially drummers that came before us. When you listen to all those drummers and get ideas from them, that just inspires more ideas. And the practicing is about maintaining your craft, maintaining your ability so that when you hit the drums for that show, you're able to start that first song, you hit it at 100 miles an hour, full on, thank you very much, you're delivering to that audience all that you have all the time.
yes, definitely.
There's a certain magic in that, and a certain magic in that feeling. Now, tell me about Vater products. You were using the 5Bs for a while, then you changed to the universals. What was the feel of the stick that you like using?
So yeah, I was using the 5Bs for a little bit, and then I was looking online and I saw the universals, and I noticed that they were like kind of similar in weight to a 5B. I actually have a pair with me right here.
Just check them out.
And here they
Yeah.
are. So
Yeah.
I really liked them because they felt almost like a little bit more top heavy, if that makes sense. So I was able to get much better rebound with them. I also liked the shape of the wood tip. It's more round opposed to the 5B, which is an acorn tip, and I like the more round tip because I feel like I get a better sound out of my toms with it. So,
Well, that's just so great that you've done this kind of research, and you got to try it out and see what feels best. It all comes down to what feels best at that moment, and having good technique to be relaxed and you get around the drum so you're not killing yourself. Again, we talked about too. Tension is the enemy of movement. If there's tension in your playing, that's gonna hurt in the process. But you seem extremely relaxed, and you're just moving straight ahead with playing and stuff here too. So with this here too, Eddie, I just looked at Hailstorm is Vater artist R.J. Hale. So you're gonna be meeting some more. So when you meet these guys on the road, you make sure you go by and tell them, hey, listen, we're all in this family together.
yes, definitely. I'm super excited to meet all of them.
Oh, you're going to have so much fun. I mean, and you're going to find out that they're all as serious about playing drums and as dedicated as you are. And it's really inspiring when you kind of get into that tribe of drummers. Drummers have this incredible bond, which is unlike any other instrument, that just respects each other. They want to share ideas. They want to learn from each other. It's really pretty powerful family to be involved with, the drumming community.
Yes, definitely. And that's one thing I've really enjoyed about, doing some touring here and there is meeting other drummers and just fellow musicians in general, and just being able to talk music with people. I love doing that.
Well, especially with drummers. If you're talking, music with drummers and just different techniques, they'll share ideas. They'll share, being open to all this here too. That really is the kind of the connection of how we can learn from each other and keep this information coming in. So it really is kind of like, inspiring us every time we meet more people. We take in more information. The next gig you play, you've got more ideas to play, and you keep on experimenting. And here it goes down to an incredibly positive music career, which is what you're developing. You're playing live.
Yes,
Adrenaline is going up there. You're just kind of at the peak of what it is. Just talk about that point when you're in front of a crowd and that tune starts and you start playing and you hear the energy from that crowd. What's the feeling that goes through your body at that point?
I mean, the only thing, like, that really goes through my mind that I can, like, kinda express is just like, "Oh my god, holy shit, like, I can't believe it." You know, all these people are, like, most of them are, like, here to see us, like, this is really crazy. So, it's just, it's definitely one of those you get, like, an adrenaline rush a little bit, and I've always loved a good adrenaline rush, so, really love it.
Now, talking about adrenaline rushes, you're also involved with other hobbies. You like water skiing, you like dirt biking. Talk about some of those hobbies that you got involved with. I mean, that's another kind of an adrenaline rush.
Yeah, so I used to race motocross for quite a few years. I don't do it anymore just because I don't wanna get hurt, um, but I did it for quite a few years, and I really, really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And I got into wakeboarding and everything 'cause my aunt, she has a boat, and, she said, "Hey, do you wanna try wakeboarding?" I'm like, "Hell yeah," because I always snowboarded my whole life pretty much. So yeah, I really took a liking to it. It's just, I love doing different sports and just staying active.
So the dirt biking thing, you decided to kind of pull off on it because you figured, moving that fast and flying up 25 feet in the air on a dirt bike, there's a possibility you could get hurt then, right?
Yeah, there's, I mean, luckily, I have never gotten any serious injuries from it. Like, the only really bad injury that I've gotten was literally a hairline fracture in my pinky toe. Um, so I walked away pretty lucky, but, there are times where I'll look back at videos, I'm like, "That was fun."
Brooke, in closing, I want to ask you one more question. You've got this, with social media now, you sparked it. You got millions of people that are watching the views of what you're doing. The band is doing well. You're on this up and coming vibe of this band starting to really kind of make a difference in the music industry. It's an all-female band, which is great too, because that offers a whole nother, you know, role model responsibility that you have now to a lot of, younger girls that are seeing you up there playing, knowing that, oh boy, if Plush can do it, I can do it. If Brooke can
Mhm.
play drums and be that aggressive and assertive on the drums, I can do it. So this is a real responsible role model. What would you have for younger drummers, even younger female drummers? What would you say to them about just pursuing their dream?
Just, if it's your dream and you really want it to happen, just keep at it and don't listen to what anybody else says. I mean, unless it's positive, then you can listen to them, but if it's something negative that you don't have to hear, then don't listen to them. And just, be yourself. Don't feel like you have to be like somebody else, just because somebody's getting a lot of attention for being a certain way, doesn't mean that you also have to be like that. So that's my biggest piece of advice I think I could give.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic, Brooke. Thank you so much. This is so great to have this kind of time. And I want everyone to know that you are still, humble enough and into learning and taking lessons and pursuing the art form. You're really kind of pushing yourself to keep on growing. And this really is the secret for a long-term musical career. To do this
Mhm.
for as long as you want to be able to do this, as long as it's fun and as long as you're producing music that's bringing joy to other people, this is a pretty powerful responsibility you have now. And it's a responsibility based off of your passion and the fun of doing it.
Yes, definitely. I wouldn't be where I am if I didn't have the passion for music and drumming. So,
Well, you sure do have the passion for sure. And on behalf of Vader and everybody, Brooke, I thank you so much for your time. And it's so fantastic. Congratulations again on the Modern Drummer article. It was just fantastic. Thank you so much. Stay well. And I'm sure we'll touch base in the future real soon.
yes, thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, Brooke. Good girl. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
Boy, this is absolutely fantastic. As you heard from Brooke, she's young, she's enthusiastic, but she's smart and she's talented, and she sees the fact that by being humble and by pursuing her passion, this is the way of a quality of life that she has, that she's pushing with the band Plush. This is so exciting. I wish her the absolute best in the world and continued success. And I look forward when she gets back into the New York area here. I want to go down and hear the band and see them in person for sure. All of you, go out there and support. You saw, check out the website that they had, plushrocks.net. Go there and check it out. Support them. Watch the views. Share it. Make it happen. On behalf of Vater and everybody here at the Vater family, we thank you all so much. Brooke, good luck. Thank you, Chad Brandolini. And I'll see you all next week. We'll have some more fun. Stay well, stay safe, and hopefully I'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.